I'm a Digimon guy.
We're Digimon guys.
You should probably know that by now if you watch my channel regularly, but if you don't, hi, I'm Karn EX, and normally I make videos on Digimon. Surprise! But I have deviated in the past, even briefly considering becoming a monster tamer YouTuber by doing Pokemon content, etc. And I haven't really done that in a while, until recently, when a game called Legacy of Pandora reached out to me to do a video on their playtest and Kickstarter. Initially presented with that, I was like, what could this be? And then the dev told me that it is a game based on Greek myth featuring the gods of Olympus and creatures that evolve not through a traditional leveling system like Pokemon, but branching. And instead of being based on levels or stats to evolve, use different attributes like violence, greed, hope, death, etc. to evolve your Cacodemons, or Cacodemons, you might say. So when they wanted to sponsor a whole video to talk about their game and get you access to the playtest and potentially some Steam gift cards, I had to jump at the chance. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to a special video. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe or anything in this video, but I'd really appreciate it if you do like the video, but also go check out the game Legacy of Pandora in the description down below, because when I get a big opportunity like this, you do too. I will get into a full deep dive into the game after this, and I'll provide more details about their playtest campaign as we go along, but here's the main chunk. If you want to participate in Legacy of Pandora's playtest campaign, you just need to download and play the latest demo, create content about your experience, take a screenshot, make a video, a review, a live stream, or fan art, illustrations, edits, etc., and post it on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or X, or Twitter if you prefer, including the hashtag Legacy of Pandora. That sounds good if you enjoyed the game, right? But don't worry, there's rewards. 4 winners will be randomly selected from all eligible entries across all platforms. Multiple entries are allowed and increase your chances of winning, but each participant can win only once, and each receives a $50 Steam gift card. Then is the Best Popular Post Award based on the total engagements, views, likes, comments across all platforms. Top performing posts will be reviewed and the final winner will be selected by the dev team and get a $75 Steam gift card. And I really like this. I was really on board when I saw this. They also have a category, a winner for best roast video, awarded to the most entertaining and insightful critique of the game. Looking for content that's honest, creative, and helps us improve, selected by the dev team and will also win a $75 Steam gift card. You can check out the game and then do your best AVGN or Karn EX impression and maybe get a $75 gift card, or just make your own roast or critique. I'll give out some more information on this campaign towards the end of the video, but let's get into what the game actually is. So Legacy of Pandora is a monster taming roguelike set in a world inspired by ancient and mysterious Greek mythology. The story takes place after Pandora opens the jar, releasing 8 evils into the world. Humanity no longer worships the gods with devotion. Cacodemons are born from human desire and grow stronger as they are corrupted by these evils. Meanwhile, the gods themselves begin to scheme and clash, each fighting for their own divine authority. And in Legacy of Pandora, you will play as Pyra, the daughter of Pandora, and undergo trials in a world invaded by evil. So the devs over at Legacy of Pandora did give me the playtest to check out, and I really enjoyed it. Honestly, historically, I've not been a massive roguelike fan, because I find myself a little bit disappointed with the fact that it's battle after battle after battle, and then you reset when you die, which of course is the whole genre. Legacy of Pandora, I think, has streamlined it to a way that I really like. Initially, when you start the game and kind of go through the tutorial, there's a lot of branches, but on your first death and restart, you are then presented with basically 3 branches. This is of course the playtest. It may be different in the final game. And I like that it wasn't just battle, battle, battle. Instead, it was battles where you could fight Cacodemons, but in the kind of wild, as it were, and then you could either defeat them or capture them. And the capture system is very familiar. Instead of throwing out a ball or getting scan rate, you instead, in this build, this demo, there is the standard incense, but I imagine there's going to be other incense in the full game, which has a capture mechanic determined by, I'm assuming, at least health, if not status conditions like paralysis and bleeding, which determines whether or not you capture the Cacodemon, and the game starts you with 5 attempts to capture. But also, as well as this, there are events where you get to talk to villagers and people. This is something I actually was looking forward to more in Digimon Story Time Stranger, is dialogue options actually matter. And Legacy of Pandora has that. You can navigate your way through these events, either with cowardice or with bravery or sneakiness, etc. And depending on what happens, you can get different elements, like I say, including violence, death, hope, disease, etc. And you use these points to evolve your Cacodemon. So in the tutorial, you see here that my Morator has automatically, from the gate, 3 evolution options. An evolution option of violence, which the demo makes you take, though of course as you play play through the demo and reset, you can choose the other options too. A death option and a madness option. And of course, these different attributes work not dissimilar to a Pokemon or Digimon style, elemental weaknesses and resistance. But I like that it's things like violence, madness, disease, hope and pride, among others. Just spices it up a little bit and makes you learn a brand new attribute chart that you're not familiar with necessarily, so you can't make full assumptions. Like, is madness strong to greed? Is disease strong to hope? You don't know, but it makes it very convenient because when you encounter a Cacodemon in the wild or during a battle, there is a bestiary which tells you a bunch of information about it, including its attributes, and then you can reference a effectiveness chart to see exactly what it is strong and weak against, which I like. However, there are dual type Cacodemons. I must admit, playing through it for like half an hour to an hour, I was still trying to cross-reference these and work out what was going on. The Cacodemons, of course, are all inspired by Greek myth creatures like the Minotaur becoming the Minotaur, very obvious, and others such as the unicorn. So this is not a traditional leveling system, this is corruption, where the Cacodemons collect different evils, those are the attributes. The demo currently features 25 Cacodemons, and they plan to add many more Cacodemons in the full release. Gotta find out a way to convince them to either make me into a Cacodemon or a character. So sometimes in these events as well, you can trigger a battle and have to fight another Cacodemon, but there is also just the battle in the roguelike branch, which is also usually a stronger battle against a town person who has their own Cacodemon. Sometimes it's a god, sometimes it's a villager, etc. Usually stronger, tougher battles, of course, as you progress along towards the boss. And I found these really challenging. It's actually where I most often used another feature which I really like, and again tying into the kind of Greek myth, evil creatures vibe, which is very reminiscent of me to Time Stranger. The sacrifice button, which lets you, if your creature is weak, because of course healing or restoring mana, which requires you to take a turn to restore mana, can be quite intensive, especially in like a kind of DPS race. So instead you can choose to sacrifice one of your Cacodemons for another Cacodemon to just devour them basically and gain their health and mana and maybe some other stats, which was very cool because it means I get to keep my stronger Cacodemons out for longer, but unfortunately I have to sacrifice one of my little ones. And then there's the boss. Took me a good few goes to get to the boss, but I eventually cleared my first run. There's also usually a shop before the final boss, and this is where you have to be careful because the flames of will that you gather throughout the run can be used to buy items, but they're also used to upgrade stats of your Cacodemon, meaning you've got to work out whether it's better to raise your demon's attack, health, etc., or buy some items, which might be very useful in the boss fight. I also like the little bits of story we got so far. The playtest demo only lets you beat one run towards the boss, and then once you've beat that, you get to go into endless mode, which features no new story beats, but does let you basically infinitely replay, indicating, of course, in the main game there's going to be a lot more story content across multiple stages, or runs, etc. I don't know that information from the devs, it's just what it seems like to me, and I'm really excited by it. We've got the story of Pyra, her mother Pandora, and the response from these humans being great distrust and hatred, and sometimes they'll recognize you, I've noticed so far, which I think is really cool. It just gives me so many of these vibes of Digimon Story Time Stranger, and of course they've paid me for this video. It's fully sponsored, as I said in the intro, but it's one of those awesome opportunities where I heard about all of the stuff it has, you know, like I say, the branching evolutions, the Greek myth theme, quick, interesting gameplay, still finding a way to factor in your choices, the evils that you get from interacting with people and Cacodemons, and applying it to the available evolutions you have. Really cool. Another Cacodemon that I really loved was Unicorn, which can be corrupted with evils to become Pegasus, but also Hippocampus, Bylus, and Chloros. Obviously the Pegasus is a Disney's Hercules fan, but I also like Hippocampus, Chloros, and Bylus because they're all based on different Greek myths, and I especially love the Trojan horse Bylus, which, you know, if you like Digimon, ancient Troyamon, anybody? And like I say, because it's a monster taming game, that ability to corrupt all these evolutions, the 3 evolutions of Minotaur, Unicorn getting 4 evolutions is awesome. And also, while the evils are of course all kind of negatives, controlling how these mythological creatures progress really reminded me of the old game Black and White on PC. Probably a very weird pull for a lot of you, but it's what it reminded me of. It just seems such a natural fit for my channel, especially with the Greek myth focus. I always kind of wished, after playing the game a couple of times, that Time Stranger had much more inspiration from actual Greek myth for the Iliad server. There are things you can kind of connect, like forests and stuff like that, but really they just became kind of like vistas and areas that could be in any Digimon game, whereas I like in Legacy of Pandora, you actually get to interact with like Greek gods, named Greek god names, not Roman god names for the most part in Time Stranger and the Digimon lore, and also just got to dive in more to that Greek mythology specifically, which is not a fault of Time Stranger, but something I really enjoyed in Legacy of Pandora. So as a reminder, you are able to get the playtest on Steam, through links in the description down below, and if you enjoyed it and want to make some content, like I say, videos, posts, reviews, etc., I noticed one of the campaign rules says all content must be original and AI free, which I really like. Loved seeing that, absolutely loved it. Loved supporting an indie dev that also cares about not using Gen AI. Beautiful. If you want to check out the full rules, you can visit their social media pages or join their Discord community. Plus, later they are going to be launching a Kickstarter. You can also choose to give pre-launch support for the game if you think it's good. If you want to support early, you can visit their website and tip $1. This grants access to exclusive pre-launch rewards, and more details can be found on their official website. Genuinely, and I know it's a sponsored video, so you might want to take it with a grain of salt, but the game really interested me the second the devs came to me, and when I actually got to play the game, again, I'm not a big roguelike guy, and I genuinely enjoyed it because the setting and the things that I could kind of apply from my knowledge of Digimon really ticked a lot of my boxes. So I want to give a huge thanks to Legacy of Pandora for sponsoring this video, and thank you to my Sovereign, ZDK14, and Jeremy Babineau over on patreon.com/Karn EX, and all my YouTube channel members here on YouTube. You guys are amazing. I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.